And so I wanted to come on to the whole basically what the whole talk was about, which was your playbook for modern communities. And I know it was split up into three things. So there was trust, rich culture, and teamwork. Now, I wanted to start with trust because I think this is such an interesting topic, and I think it's so crucial to, building any kind of relationship with people. So, and I love the experiment that you did actually when you got everyone to unlock their phone and pass it to the other person. I would feel so uncomfortable doing that. So
Yeah.
I can imagine everyone in the room was feeling the same way. And what you said is that trust requires vulnerability from all of us and from organizations. And you used Airbnb as an example that Airbnb is about opening people to their homes and so on. And you're coming into their home. So it's quite a vulnerable thing to do. So I've always been of the belief personally, and you know what everyone says, that trust is something that is earned. Now, I watched one of Gary Vee's videos recently, and I know he has a course. He has a course with you guys, and he said something that really made me think about trust in a different way. He's like, to say trust is earned from his perspective is an egotistical thing and comes from a place of fear. He's like, the way I work is I give trust, and then either you keep it or you lose it. So you're not earning it. I'm giving it to you blindly, and then we see what happens after that. What do you think? What do you think about what he said? Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? And how do you start building trust in an organization?
Yeah, I think like it's amazing what he shared, and I think like a lot comes from him as the CEO of the company, right? He's on the top of the organization, and him sending this message that I give trust no matter where you start, on who you are. It's a great way to work with people, and I think it's really, I would love to watch that video myself too. So for sure, if the leader of the organization says, I give you trust, and here you have this like fragile ways that you need to carry and you need to take care of it, that's the first step actually. And if a CEO walks this talk and really proves it and goes by example, that's already like a huge step. Then other people will follow, right? I also see here, speaking about trust, is also creating the environment where you not only give it, but actually you cultivate it, right? So in everyday actions, you can see it. You can see it from people, especially, let's say, if there are mistakes that happen, right? Every day there are so many mistakes that might cost a lot of money. So how do you deal with those, right? And with the people who make these mistakes. At the same time, like let's say on the meetings, the typical trust building environment in the organization, you can actually see what is the level of trust and what is actually the level of it while attending some of the meetings, especially where there is like the top team in the room. If people speak up and people have this healthy disagreement with each other, and when they leave the room and they feel oh my god, this has been like such a great discussion, I love it, then I think like we can say that the trust is actually present in the organization. But if there is only like one person talking and people hate going to that meeting and they don't speak up, no one else speaks up, that's actually a sign that okay, like there actually might not be room for trust. So how do you create this environment? Usually very simple things that managers can actually do. I always say, start by saying something a little bit more about yourself. Like first, like when sharing about past day or past week, like share a little bit more what's going on behind the standard phrases, right? Or even we like to start our daily meetings with every team with gratitude. So everyone gets to share what they're grateful for. And then they go into, okay, and my focus for the day is this, and that. So we notice that when people start with gratitude, and that goes the same for all the managers, that actually opens a lot of avenue for being vulnerable, for showing a bit of your side that is not only work side. and that also fosters trust on an everyday level, because people can relate to you and people can see that you are actually a human and you have maybe troubles, maybe successes. So these simple practices help a lot. Another super good practice that we do when we have every quarter strategy meetings, and strategy meetings usually like 2 days. The top team meets and plan like, okay, what's happening for this quarter, for this year, where we are. A day before, we gather, all of us, we gather for dinner. So, and this dinner, we don't talk about strategy, we don't talk about anything work related. We just talk about ourselves, our what's going on in our life, and just like checking in with each other where we are as people. And usually these dinners like are amazing preface of actually tomorrow I can debate with you. I can like healthily contradict or healthily like have this healthy conflict, because we need it. We need the strategy to be very solid. If there is no trust, if there is only formal words, then like there will be like a strategy won't be like as inspiring or as big as we could be. So this also proved to us, like especially on the leadership team, where there are like super solid, super like amazing individuals who are also hard-headed many times, many occasions. So this environment where you actually catch up and see each other as people is usually is super helpful. And I personally, I also like in my work, I'm not a big fan of personality tests, for example, for hiring or making some like promotion decisions, but I really use them to get to know my team. So we like doing from time to time when we have a team retreat or a team gathering to share some of the tests inside that we did, personality tests. And then like, or actually like seeing this person from another side is also helps us to boost trust in many ways.
Yeah. I really like what you said about, first of all, I think the dinner before having such a big meeting is a great idea, because you're priming yourself to be, you know, everything's discussed, you know, how where everyone's coming, where they are in their, you know, in their life personally. And then when you go into the meeting, like you said, that you feel like we can have this debate, even if, you know, if we have different opposing views, like we've laid the groundwork so we can have a good debate together. And also what you said about, it all starts, I think in any company, all starts from the top, from the CEO, and it comes down, because them showing some kind of vulnerability, them showing that, you know, they're also just a person. They have, you know, they have kids, they have families, they have the same problems that any, you know, the top level have the same problems that the bottom level have too. It's just everyone has their own problems. And I think that really, like you said, it makes it more relatable. It makes me look at you as, oh, you're not okay, yes, you're my boss, but you're also a person. So, you know, if there's days that you have, you know, might have been a bit aggressive with me, I understand, okay, if I know what's going on in your life, okay, I can understand that. It gives me more room to be compassionate, or more room to be understanding. And why do you think that in most organizations, at least, I've been in some I've been in some organizations myself where I could be like, okay, yes, there was trust, and I can also look at others that there wasn't. And what you also said in the talk, like you want people to come as themselves to work. So not be like, work Khalid or work Marta. You want us to be fully who we are and ourselves. So why do you think in a lot of companies that is not there? Does it come from a place of fear? Is it from an insecurity? Is it because the environment in that office or in that company doesn't give you the opportunity to be yourself in those, you know, at work?
Mm-hmm. I think it's a combination of many things, because like we still sometimes operate that work is work, and then there is life, and I need to put this mask when I come to work, right? And it's like for this amount of hours, and then I go to home. And I think like a lot, like still like many businesses operate in this mentality of win lose, right? If I do something and then you must lose, right? Like in this like competitive win lose situations. that of course impacts the customers and the people as well, the employees. And actually that's how like a lot of corporations are like built. And even I now, when I talk to my friends who are in big corporations, and I ask them, they predominantly extremely unhappy, but they're there because like it's security, it's job, it's amazing salary, they have all these perks. But if I ask them, okay, but are you healthy, or are you fulfilled, it's super hard for them. And I saw like some people who would leave this corporation after some time, how lost they are without them, you know. um, so yes, you're right, a lot of businesses still operate in that sense, but there is also a lot of movement, I feel, right now, in terms of like, okay, like first you cannot separate, because there is actually no separation. In fact, 80% of time we are at work, right? Second, there are a lot of studies that high engagement, what we spoke, like high level of vulnerability, being valued, and being like really knowing that the company cares for you, drives innovation and drives results of companies, right? So it's already like, that's why there is a lot of like companies with amazing culture, and they talk about it, and all the Silicon Valley is all about that, right? So it's, I think like the movement is there, uh, but still like people are to this point of time like can be miserable at work. But I also think like, okay, like yes, companies are creating that for us, but also it's up to us where we are in our life and what we want to achieve from the life. And what's our journey, what's our stage of life, right? So it's a lot on us as well, as employees, as individuals, to choose where we want to be.
Yeah.
And of course I can't say like right, like maybe for I don't have kids, and so it's probably easy for me to choose, right? Compared to parents, to working parents, or people who don't have so many privileges as I do. So I am in many senses a very, very privileged, to what I'm grateful. But I also think like the moment we like grow ourselves as individuals, if we invest in our personal growth, no matter what, that's where like we can transform a lot of organizations too. So like, to finalize my answer, which is super long, is to like, you know, it goes hand in hand. On one side,
Yeah.
organizations are evolving and they need to be conscious about it, and another side, us in individuals as well. It's a lot of power in our hands, and consciousness needs to happen in our existence too, how we exist as individuals and what we really want from work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you said a great point about it's goes hand in hand. It's responsibility on us as people, you know, to invest in ourselves and to, I guess, develop that vulnerability. I'd like to think of it as a muscle, because it's something that you train and you get better with over time. And it's also for the company to provide you a platform or an environment for you to, I guess, like develop those skills and, you know, engage with people in that way and so on. Do you think that, let's say there's an environment that is not like catered towards vulnerability and so on, it's not that kind of environment, do you think a person could be the catalyst to change all that if they start acting and being vulnerable with people? Because I've always believed, at least in my experience, that if you're vulnerable, you being vulnerable invites people to be vulnerable with you. And it's kind of like a domino effect when that starts happening. So do you think people can become the change that they'd like to see in the company? Or do you think that sometimes, even if you do change, the environment is just too, I guess, unwelcoming for something like that?
Mm-hmm. I think like to some extent, yes, you can change, and you can definitely change in your immediate team. And I saw examples where the team would be like, as we speak right now, vulnerable with each other, while organization is very stiff. So definitely as individuals, we can change on our immediate circles. And for sure, I want to encourage that, and we can make this change. To say that this is going to be organization-wide change, I think it's quite tough. And many examples, it really needs to go to CEO, to the owner, and where he is in his level of development and level of growth, what's going on in his life. right? This we can see like exactly like where CEO is, what he's going through. It exactly reflects on the company. It's very like strange to think that way, but you cannot separate, especially if this person is a founder too, right?
Mm.
Because it's his idea, his brand is coming from his heart and his mind. These are interconnected. So if the CEO has problems with being vulnerable, it will be almost impossible to do it on organizational level, because he will not accept it, he will not receive it even. If he is like growing in his consciousness and or her consciousness, and really like stepping into that, like that's the big change will happen.
Yeah. No, I think you made a good point that it really does, especially like you said, if they're also the founder as well, it's them, it's their baby, it's their vision, it's how,
Yeah.
and it's a big, like I said, it is a big reflection on the culture, is a big reflection on how they see things and how they operate and what's going on in their life. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't keep in mind as much. You might think it's just, your manager that's not like that or whatever, but like I said, it starts from the top and it comes all the way down.